Good evening. We are live. It is Tuesday. I think it's a Tuesday. That's it. Excuse me. New baby brain. I can't really think what day it is or what time it is. All is different. All is well. All is different with the Colts. We'll get into it. Obviously, joining me to my right is Robbie, the quick-witted, and probably. Are you faster than this QB? Or
I would say so, mate. My disabled, frail body, I'd say, it's probably me, Matty Ice, Philip Rivers.
Yeah. Obviously, we've got a lot to cover as I've been away for a couple of weeks. Those who don't know, I'm a proud parent now. A lot to cover: the Ngakoue trade, the big QB talk, and maybe a few other things. We'll be right back after this. It gets me pumped every time.
What a segue. That was beautiful. It's like you haven't been away.
I've been working on my own baby. I've been working on something else. Straight off the bat, it's always nice having people watching. And it's always nice having people across the pond watching. Colts loyalists, Colts share, thanks for joining. Let us know what you think of the trades. Right, let's address a few things. Robbie, since we last did a show,
yes.
Before I went on paternity leave, we had, Carson Wentz was half out the door. We didn't really know if it was. Then it was going to be Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson. It was the carousel, the typical off-season carousel. But obviously the big trade that came first was Ngakoue for Rock Ya-Sin. I'm not really sold on this, only because of how well Rock Ya-Sin was doing. Yeah. What did you think when this trade first came in?
A little bit gutted because we've been on that rock train, for 2 years. We saw his development from all those flags and how he's losing people on routes. But then last year, he really stepped up, and it's just part of the business. We had a need at defensive end.
Yeah.
I think we're still maybe a one-person light, and there's got to be a casualty in that. And Rock obviously had a bit of trade value.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it made me feel better that it was only a player. I feel like if it was a player and a pick, then, that's a lot to give up. Does it leave us a bit shy at corner? Maybe.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. Corner, we were kind of struggling towards the end of the season to try and get people laced up and get them booted up. One, trying to look at the positive, with Ngakoue, he's come from this new defensive system, isn't he? Like Gus Bradley from the Raiders. So it's someone in the locker room that knows the system, knows how he coaches, knows how he communicates. For me, though, after watching him when he was obviously young, coming into the league when he was with the Jaguars, he didn't really, it wasn't like we was playing him. I thought, we got to watch for him. It was always like Miles Jack, or whatever big free agent name they just bunged in there at defensive tackle. It's just one of them. It's a business deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm struggling to see who's going to be there at corner, but we've still got a long time to go, haven't we?
Yeah, it's one of them for me. You all of a sudden look at our D line now, and it's no, let's make no mistake and hissy fit around it. The D line was awful last year.
Yeah,
was awful, way below standard. Just a comment from Gary. Corners are easier to find in the draft and pass rush as well.
But it's finding that quality. We've still got, obviously, Xavier Rhodes hasn't been picked up. Do we want him back? Maybe as a camp body. TJ Carey still's not been picked up, so I assume he'll be back on a lower deal.
Yeah.
again, we just don't know. And yes, we've had our issues trying to find pass rushers. Ed Rogers, just that kind of game wrecker, and hopefully Yannick's our boy.
Yeah, I mean it takes a lot of attention away from DeForest Buckner. For me, this is a big shout of we're not going to rush far and that's it. And that's what I like about the trade. I don't like giving up Rock Sim, but sometimes it's one of them things, if we thought being a year 2 corner is hard, being a year 3 corner is even harder. For me, it's the hardest position in football.
And again, with someone that's come in, I think Ngakoue obviously came from the Raiders. I think he was at the Ravens for a year, and obviously he was with the Jaguars as well. So he's been around the league, and obviously we've got 2 young edge rushers that perhaps obviously with Mathis in and around the building, and obviously with someone that's a bit more experienced, it can only help.
And what I'm noticing about Gus Bradley and what he's trying to build, or what I can see so far, is 2 things: accountability and a dog mentality. None of this church boy, Andrew Luck, good tackle bud type of crap, which I always hate on the field. You go on the field and the other team are your worst enemy for 60 minutes. I don't care, 60, 80 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever sport you play. Afterwards, go and have a pint and go and have a laugh, go to Las Vegas on a private jet, I don't care. But then 60 minutes, and that's where we fell down last season. Nobody was held accountable. A lot of it was thrown onto Carson Wentz's head, and probably rightly so. But I think we also what score was that final game? Something like 21
against the Jags. Yeah, it was. But that was everyone had checked out. I'm not having any slander. Wentz didn't play well, as we know, but nobody stepped up that game.
Yeah, so that's what I'm liking from this Gus Bradley defense. We'll see if it works. The next big signing we're going to talk about, Reggie Wayne, wide receiver coach. You got to love it, haven't you? I mean, it's like Shawn Michaels coming out at WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? It's a nostalgia pop that's going to get the fans behind the team and going to offer some real advice. And
for me, this was nothing more than a commercial decision. This is our fan base are restless for what's going on.
Yeah,
we need to bring in some positivity, and he's going to get the positive vibe from the fans. Mm-hmm. He's never coached the NFL before. I don't think he's done much. I think since he's retired, all he's been doing is really drinking and smoking. I think that's when you look at his social media,
he's earned that right.
Oh yeah, no, he knows the game. He's been there. He's done it. He's got the t-shirt. So yes, the receivers can learn from him, but it's not all great players make good coaches.
No, it is a bit of a shirt seller.
And who is he coaching this year?
Yeah,
Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell. Obviously, Zach Pascal's gone now. It's I'm trying to think what other wide receivers. And I think we're down to that bare stretch. I know, obviously, there's rumours of us going out and getting a big.
There's Ashton Doolin, there's Des Patman. It's maybe Sackett. We throw Hines in a wide receiver slot. It's bringing someone in like Reggie. As much as it's about the coaching, we all know. Well, for me, positional coaches are just. It's like an apprenticeship, in it. You're not. You're going to be carrying the water bottles out. You're going to be blowing the coach's whistle. It's one of them, and it's someone for me who wants to earn his tread in the world of coaching. Maybe one day he is offensive coordinator somewhere, but it's one of them. He's a well-respected guy. He's been there, done that. He's good friends with Ty. Considering Jack Doyle's retired, maybe we needed that to get Ty back. Just a comment from our good friend Lawrence Owen, who's jumper I'm wearing. Still a good jumper. I'm not just wearing this because it's a Colts podcast. I wear this every day. It's a really comfy jumper. There's still a few wide receivers that would improve our room. Yeah. But the draft is full of good ones as well. Yeah, and nice hoodie. Yeah, we'll get on to the draft. I want to stick with the timeline of what we've got so far. I've not got a bad word about it. Say, get Reggie in. Does this mean somebody's looking at Marcus Brady as an offensive coordinator? I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those for me.
I wouldn't read that much into it.
Yeah,
like I say, like it's just for me. It just seemed like the timing of it. It just seemed like a very good PR move. And I tell you what Lauren says. I don't know much about this draft whatsoever.
Yeah.
We took, was it Strachan, late rounds last year, who couldn't equate to being on the field. So we do need, I think Michael Pittman's a number one. I think he would slot into a lot of teams number one. And I think what we'll find with this year's quarterback is that those layups that, was it Ursay or Ballard was talking about, having a quarterback that just takes them layups that can just keep that ball moving, and that's what we've got.
Yeah. We'll get on to the quarterback. I was watching, I think it was Bring the Juice when the news broke about the new quarterback. And Lawrence Owen was actually on there saying, Matty Ice has not had a person who he can just check it off to or dump it down to, who's going to run for 80 yards. And that's what we got in Hines and Taylor. So I'm excited to see that. But let's get back to where this all began, right? We give away a first and a second for Carson. I think it was a first and a second, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Things didn't work out for whatever reason. We move on from Carson Wentz. I'm not going to get into the politics at all, and if he's whatever, blah 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 blah. Just quickly, Gary saying there's a lot of speed wide receiver in the draft. Hopefully our first round draft pick wide receiver, who's going to be a speed guy, can stay fit. But yeah, anyway, Carson, I didn't think it was the right time to move on from Carson Wentz. When I saw that we was trading for Matty Ryan or Matty Ice, he wasn't my first choice. Not a chance. I wanted Baker Mayfield. I thought Baker Mayfield was the better option. Younger, more of a sponge, let's say, can learn more. You can't teach an old dog new trick sort of thing. And he would have hated Ryan Grigson, so that would have also helped. But then I saw what we got back, and I can't remember who put it on Twitter, but somebody put, if you bring it up as a full trade, the Colts gave away a first, a second, got back a second and a third, gave away Carson Wentz and got back potentially another second and Matty Ice. I don't know where he needs to put it, but somebody needs to put a statue of Chris Ballard outside the Lucas Oil Stadium, because I don't know if it's the Southern accent. I don't get why this guy is so good at making people take cap hits as well. Sure. The Falcons have took the largest cap hit, more than Carson Wentz last year.
This is the time. Like, I totally get what you're saying. When you look at it as a business deal, apparently the Browns wanted a first for Baker Mayfield. And so when you take into context what people wanted for what we've got, have we got an upgrading quarterback? I'd say slightly yes. Mm-hmm. That's a positive. And getting those picks from Washington for Wentz, and then what we gave obviously Atlanta, just that 1/3 round pick, it makes sense. It's total business sense. But if Matt Ryan went to a team like the Buccaneers or the Rams, who have all this experience and they're there and ready for Super Bowl contention, but we are not there. You know, if you still look, if obviously I know there's a long way to go, a long off season, which is why I didn't want to talk quarterback till the 1st of April, because there's so many variables left. But our roster, you know, it's got so many, like left tackle, you know, I still think we light on the line, still light cornerback, wide receiver, tight end. Yes, there's a draft coming up, but we need people really stepping up into that echelon of eliteness, whereas I don't think we're quite there. That's why taking someone like Baker, where we can work with him for a year or two, whereas in 12 months' time, you know, Matt Ryan's going to be 37, almost 38. Is he going to be, you know, not everyone's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
As we know. And are we going to be sat here in 12 months' time talking about getting another quarterback for the 7th year in a row?
Worst case scenario, 2024, Matt Ryan's beat up, but Archie Manning's declared for the draft.
I knew that was coming.
Worst case scenario. That's all I'm saying.
I've been waiting for that.
We sucked for luck. We can think of a decent punt to put in there.
Like, I just don't. I understand it from a business point of view. You know, you gave away X, you got Y, and so you've ended up in a positive of draft picks from your QB situation from this year. Get that. But for long-term growth, yes, it's what we've done from a lately league, but you need a quarterback who's going to be with you for several years as a mainstay for your offense, as that focal point for your offense that understands it totally, you know. And we haven't got that. You know, it's another stopgap. It's another plaster. It's not what we want. And from watching Matt Ryan, from what I saw of Matt Ryan last year, am I excited about our offense for this year? Not at all. You know, it's that I wanted Baker from that kind of choice of who we could have potentially got as such if we were playing Madden, because I think he's a bit more exciting. But you know, proof will be in the pudding. You know, we'll know in a few weeks' time once free agency finishes, draft's done, and then we'll get a bit of an idea about where we are. But at the moment, I'm not very comfortable moving into the season the way we are.
Yeah, it's for me. Have we upgraded on Carson Wentz? Yes, on the sense that Matt Ryan isn't as bipolar as Carson Wentz when it comes to playing. Have we upgraded on Phillip Rivers? No.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Matt Ryan, if you look at his turnover, he is an interception machine. He is in double figures for interceptions for, I think, the last 4 or 5 years. And if you look at the QBR, you know, what if you take from that, you know, over the last 5 years, I've got it here. Wentz average is 92.92. Matt Ryan's 94.6. So if you obviously, there's a lot more to the game than just statistics, yes, but if you take that as a measurement, we have slightly upgraded. Whereas, and I say Matt Ryan is a turnover machine, which worries me.
So for me, the problem is the quarterback this year had to be a three-person choice. I struggle on the word decision, so choice. Jim Irsay, Frank Reich, and Chris Ballard all had to agree. And I think if it was up to Frank and Chris, Baker Mayfield would have been our QB. I think Jim Irsay turned around and said, I want the exact opposite. I think this was said on Pat McAfee's show. I know Pat watches our show, so, you know, credit to his show. I think it was he said, you know, Jim Irsay's gone out there and said, I want the exact opposite of Carson Wentz. And that's someone who's not a media circus QB, someone who's going to throw it the 3 yards rather than the 30 yards, someone who's known to hold onto the ball for too long, someone who's not very mobile, but he can get you a 3rd and 3 scramble sort of thing. Why did we trade away Jacoby Brissett?
because he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback there, Harrison. Jacoby Brissett isn't a starter.
But if you're talking game managers, for me, he's better than Matt Ryan.
That's a bold statement.
If you're talking game manager, Jacoby Brissett hasn't choked a Super Bowl by being up 28 points.
That's fair. I've actually just double checked. Obviously,
sorry, just got a comment from Gary. Baker may not even be. Yeah.
Oh, he will. Oh, he will. He
Carolina.
is a good quarterback. Played. He's had a different either an offensive coach or head coach. Literally every year, he's had to go through something new. Whereas, and everyone brings out something different. So, I'm back in Baker. But no, I said about Matt Ryan and his interceptions.
Yeah.
From his 18 seasons, how many seasons has he had single-digit interceptions? Just guess from his 18 seasons.
6?
3.
Wow.
2010 he had 9. 2016 he had 7. And 2018 he had 7. And all the rest are like 14, 11, 12, 16, 17s. So as I say, he is an interception machine. If you take the season, which season was this? 2013. He played 16 games and had 17 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know that was a few years back, but at least, Wentz doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't complete passes, but at least doesn't get intercepted. Phillip Rivers, again, didn't get intercepted.
I look at this as, Chris Ballard has made this happen. I'm not going to sit here and say we've got a shit quarterback. I hate this team. I hate Chris. Matty Ice is an extremely talented quarterback. There's a reason he's been in the league so long. Just quickly, Mikey, happy with Matty Ice. I bet he's happy with beating West Ham 3-1 as well. But that's for a different show. And I think the problem is the Browns thought they could hold the Colts hostage because Baker wanted to come to Indy. And Chris Ballard just went, no, hung up the phone.
Yeah, no, and he's done well. For the business, he's done very well.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 16 million spare cap space at the moment, and we've got to get a left tackle in that. Like, left tackle's got to be priority.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know about the draft. I don't watch college football, but are you going to be drafting a left tackle to start? Don't know.
I feel like with left tackle, I mean, I'd say I'd be happy, but I feel Chris Reed did a good enough job to be a left tackle for the Colts. Everyone says that's the money position, that's where the protection coming from, but with Quentin Nelson there, you can have a below average left tackle and you can do all right. Look at Eric Fisher.
Yeah. In passing game, it was horrendous, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. So I don't think that should be priority. Apparently, there's a lot of talk about bringing the player from the Chiefs in, not a left tackle, but Tyrann Mathieu.
Oh yeah, the safety.
Yeah,
massive fan of his.
Oh,
him and Kenny Moore. Oh,
yeah.
Play because from what I know of the Honey Badger, he doesn't play safety as a traditional safety role. It's more of a free. Like he is that.
He's a box-standing type safety.
Yeah, he just absolutely is. He's side to side. He's all over the field. I've actually met him. He's actually a proper sound guy. Yeah. So no, I'd do if we could get him in there, because I think was it George Odom's. He's
he's gone as well.
So he played a lot of snaps last year.
Mm-hmm.
We got some guy in, didn't we? Is it Fancyson? Played on the Gus Bradley.
Yeah,
years ago.
A DB was it?
Yeah, I've got no idea who he is or what he was, but I've just just come to my mind there.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it's a funny old time in it. One of the reasons I've kind of stayed off the QB talk and why I just hate this time of year is Twitter.
Don't even.
Absolute meltdown.
That's his name. Just from Mikey quickly, Facian, and I love the Honey Badger Colts' favorite LSU player. Yeah, Twitter's just, and everyone, and I'm sure it's not just our fan base.
Oh yeah, no, it is just that it's across it, and all every team's got their own.
Yeah, but everyone thinks they know more and better, and they know first. And I just, like you say, it's a lot of I can't be arsed with it.
So we just need to pump the brakes a little bit and just see how the next kind of month develops.
Yeah,
I'm not ordering a Matt Ryan jersey just yet.
That number 2.
Do you reckon I can just take the back off and get someone to stick in Ryan instead?
Yeah. I went and watched Matt Ryan highlights on YouTube for last year, and obviously it's highlights, so take what you want of that. It's not every single snap. I'm not going to do that. I don't have the time of day to do that. I've got to say, nothing excited me.
That's what I mean. It's as I said, it's just not like there's nothing there to get excited about at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think his arm's strong enough, and shovel passes. I'm seeing a lot of shovel passes and getting PTSD. Let's not do that.
Yeah, we had one of them the last year.
He doesn't particularly throw the ball fast. I don't see how he elevates this team. I don't. And I mean, you know what I'm like, Robbie? As soon as he touched down in Indy, which he did today, I'm behind the guy 100%.
No. He's actually ruined our evening because he's actually doing a press conference at the moment.
Yeah, but surely he probably watched this before he went live.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think something that's etching me a bit is I don't think we should have moved on from Carson Wentz. And I know people like our good friend Nate would wholeheartedly disagree with that, and others would as well. But he was an easy scapegoat, and that's what I don't like. Who do we blame when it doesn't go right this year? Because Frank Reich escaped last year because of how bad Carson Wentz was in them the last 2 games.
But I go back to week 4, week 5. I remember having a conversation with Lawrence.
Yeah.
About Carson Wentz. He brought up some good points. I brought up some good points, but he just was just the beginning of the season just holding the ball so much, but then he had that middle section of that season where he just took off. And he was. He had people forget about that middle part of the season where he was good. Where he did make plays, where he was accurate, where he's getting the ball away quickly. But then something just happens, doesn't it, in sport?
Yeah.
He just didn't have that consistency over the season. Whereas, again, the only thing I see consistent about Matt Ryan is the interception. But I'm not going to be slagging him. I'm not going to be, in our group chat, in the UK Colts group chat, a few people have voiced their opinion about how much of a better option he is. And I was like, I don't think so. I've got nothing to back it up. I've seen him play, and I just don't see how he is this major upgrade that's going to get us into the playoffs and beyond. Or, well, let's just actually look at the AFC and try winning that first, the AFC South.
I mean, for me, the problem was, Mike is saying, Ryan be the complete opposite when still need a true number 1 at wide. I mean, I disagree with the second part of that, Mikey. Mike Pittman is a true number 1 wide receiver. He only wasn't a true number 1 wide receiver. All I want to say, whatever you want to call it, because we brought back T.Y. Hilton. It wasn't his fault Ty got injured. They were a guy put up over 1,000 yards, was the only wide receiver to do it in our team. He Randy Moss someone in San Francisco in a tropical thunderstorm, whatever it was. I remember that game. The guy is, for me, I think I said it a while ago to you, he reminds me of Mike Evans type player. And I do think Pittman's a number one wide receiver.
Yeah, and I'm trying to sit here thinking of positives of Matt Ryan, rather than just obviously bagging on him before he's even played his first game. Like, the only positive I can see is that these little dink and dunks, these little swing passes, very Philip Rivers, very easy completions. But past that, like Mikey, you say that Ryan would be complete opposite to Wentz. Wentz didn't throw interceptions. Matt Ryan did. Wentz was still got 4,000 yards last year, whereas Matt Ryan, if he does, then great, and I'll be fully behind him. Week one, I'll be there. I'll be behind him. I'll be backing him to the hill. Though I'm not going to buy his jersey because it'll be another 1 year stopgap, and it's a bad investment. Yeah, I just don't know where this team goes to next, and I'm looking forward to seeing how free agency finishes.
Mm-hmm. The problem for me was with Carson Wentz coming in, we could have been a very unpredictable team. We could run, we could pass, we could RPO, we could play action, we could shotgun, we could bootleg, we could scramble, Frank Reich could pretty much draw up anything, and it worked because as much as Carson Wentz, can do stupid throws, you have to respect, what he can do with his arm and what he can do with his legs as well.
Whoa. NFL website. Sorry, mate. I was just looking at what I was actually looking to see what other free agents are actually still out there.
Yeah. With Matt Ryan, it's saying we're going to rely a lot more on the run game, and I really, really don't. I don't like that. It's pigeonholing us into one-dimensional football, and that's really gets on my tits. Now, positives of Matt Ryan is he's a clever quarterback. He's been around the league a lot. I feel like he'll be very good at the RPO game, which Frank Reich is very good at drawing plays up for.
Yeah.
He's a respected veteran around the league, so he'd be good for the locker room. There's no controversy around the guy, so he's good in that sense. He's also 4-0 against the Jaguars, so.
And I like that. And he seemed to be loved in Atlanta. Scrolling through Twitter, looking at some of the Atlanta Falcons kind of posts, he is generally liked. He is by far their best player ever.
Yeah.
And he's not left with any kind of bad feelings or anything like that. So that's, at least there's that there. I don't think he's the most likable guy in the world. But we'll see.
Got no real run game until they flex Cordell Patterson there. Their row line was very poor aside from. Yeah. But it's just a bit deja vu. Was we not saying this about Carson Wentz? Was we not saying Carson Wentz had a poor O line, no run game, no receivers, but could do all this stuff and magically get us to a Super Bowl? I still think a couple more years we get to a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz. I'm not saying the year coming up, but maybe the year after. I reckon we're there.
Yeah.
Um,
and just a little bit more research for you. Obviously, I like a quarterback that can run. His longest ever run. Go on, Harrison. Give me a guess on his longest ever run.
God.
I like putting you on the spot.
About 13 yards.
He got 20 in 2010.
I mean, he's not going to be. And this is what is just so baffling. I'm less excited than what I was to see with Carson Wentz. You know what I mean? And there was other options that I would have taken at the time over Carson Wentz.
But let's compare him to the rest of the AFC South.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, who would you prefer to have? Right now, not thinking about what we can do in the future, but for this season.
Matty Ice.
Cool. Texans, we still don't know who their quarterback is.
Davis Mills. Davis Mills, hands down, he torched us for about 400 yards.
Everyone torched us last year. In one way or the other, like mentally, physically, emotionally. Because obviously Deshaun Watson's gone, so that's a result for us. And then Titans with Ryan Tannehill. I would prefer to have Matt Ryan over
Ice, really, isn't he?
Yeah, and so if you look at the division at the moment, I'd say we do have the best quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have the best quarterback in the AFC South. And people were saying we should have gone out and got Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, blah blah blah. People were asking for three first round picks, and the quarterbacks are asking for 120, 150 million a year.
We just didn't have that budget, and
it's not even that. I'm just what annoyed me.
I guess.
What annoyed me about Twitter is that apparently Chris Ballard is a bad GM because he won't take the quarterback or the wide receiver that Colts boy _ at 42 uses on Madden or on his fantasy football that gets 5,000 yards in Madden because he uses a glitch play. And I've stayed quiet about it because it really annoyed me. But Chris Ballard doesn't have to listen to the fans.
Thank God he doesn't.
Yeah, he gets paid millions, and thank God Jim Irsay has sense to pay Chris Ballard millions to be cleverer than the rest of us armchair GMs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not questioning his business acumen.
This wasn't that was fully a rant at Colts Twitter.
Yeah, no, it's good, and I'm just worried about we're going to be in 12 months' time again.
Yeah,
but let's not worry about it. We got 17 games to go and win, and then we've got a playoff run, and then we've got the Super Bowl to go and win this year. So,
and let's be honest, if it doesn't work out with Matty Ryan, Archie Manning's going to be about, but also, and I've not given up on him. Like I said, I didn't give up on the last backup QB, Sammy Erlinger. Sammy Slinger.
Did you talk about just on Twitter? Did you see? Obviously, Odell Beckham seems to be throwing out a line to the Colts.
Yeah, he's not going to leave LA, mate. Not a chance he leaves LA.
I can't see it. You know, what I liked about his move to LA is that he wasn't when he was in New York, he was always in the headlines. It was always about him. Whereas he went to LA, and it was he just seemed to be getting on with his football.
Yeah, LA suits Odell Beckham down to the ground, doesn't it? Yeah. Let's be honest. Fast cars, actresses, actors, superstars, entertainers.
The ego boost.
Yeah.
He ain't going to get one of them in Indy, is he?
No. Especially, and he would get humbled by someone like Reggie Wayne, who should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah. But instead they put some randomer in, but
he'll find his way in the end.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, still a long way to go. I know you've broken your vow on your quarterback talk. You had to. The temperature has dropped a lot in Indy, but that just means we're getting cold. And like my favourite song of all time, Vanilla Ice, Matty Ice, baby. Matty Ice.
I thought you'd say we are the Venga Boys then. but like, I mean, just to kind of reiterate, like, why I didn't want to talk about the quarterback situation, because nobody knows what's going on. No. Everyone was saying that Aaron Rodgers. Well, no, because we didn't have the money for that. Like, we didn't have and then
I'm just gonna say, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this. I pointed out. I can't remember if I said it on the show or if I tweeted it or whatever, but I remember saying, because Green Bay have got a London game, Aaron Rodgers is staying in Green Bay. I remember saying that. I can't remember who I said it to or where I said it.
You said it on here because I did say that because he wasn't in any of the promotional material.
Yeah, I remember saying it. I knew as soon as they got an international game, there's not a chance they're going there with Jordan Love. Not a chance. But that was just a pure guess and a hunch. So I didn't have any sources. Or did I? Ooh.
The sources are in the fridge, mate. That's the only source that's needed.
Yeah.
But it's just some like, yes, Twitter's a good place to go and escape if you just want to find out what's going on, a bit of news, and I get that. But I think sometimes there needs to be a bit of a policing on Twitter where they actually say to people, just chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, just chill out. Like, whatever happens, happens. With Colts fans, you can change your wife, but you don't change your team.
Yeah.
And you say that for a reason. You gotta back your team to the end. Like, we've all found the Colts through various ways and different ways, whether it be through certain players or because we visited or because of X, Y, and Z. And but this is our team, and we're gonna get behind it. And because we're fans, we can have platforms where we can kind of vent our annoyance. But just because I don't think Matt Ryan's that much of an upgrade doesn't mean we're not going to go and win 17 games.
17-9. The mission remains the same. What is it Frank says? We climb that mountain.
Oh, fuck off. I wonder what this year's mantra is going to be.
I don't know. I mean, the be-all and end-all was Jim Irsay asked for three things probably this season. And that was win the first game. We didn't do.
We never do.
That was, getting to the playoffs, something else. And he wasn't just let down by Carson Wentz. And this, it's left a sour taste in my mouth. That we just axed him like that. When you saw the reaction of Kenny Moore,
yeah,
I think it was. Did I think they moved on because Jim Irsay has told them to move on? Yeah. They did it to save their own skin. For me, there's no two ways about that. But like I said, Matty Ice, his touchdown in Indy. He's our QB. He's very very talented QB, future Hall of Famer, and Super Bowl winner.
I just we're a month away before I think some of the training happens, isn't it? I think there's a couple of training sessions before the draft.
The OTAs, is it?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then, but we're just over a month away now to the draft.
So long without football.
It's absolutely shocking. I've got a 6-hour train journey tomorrow, so I'm going to be 7 hours in total tomorrow. So I'm going to be hopefully downloading some Falcons games. Going up to Newcastle, mate.
Oh, what a runner shot that is!
Talk about Newcastle. Here comes Tom. Yeah, I'm heading up to Newcastle tomorrow. I've got a couple of presentations to do, so I'm literally up there and then back in my day. Oh, can you imagine that? It'd make me feel good about life. That would just giving a rant and rave about that.
Right. I think that's about it for so far in the off season, isn't it?
Yeah, no. We can obviously Zaya Franklin, Tyquan Lewis, Mo Ali Cox have all signed. Massive need in tight end, but that'll be addressed by Sir Chris Ballard.
I like it.
You're for someone that's nursing a baby that's 4 weeks old now. Your hair is looking divine, mate.
Not even 4, mate. 2. Well, 2 weeks old tomorrow. Yeah. So, I mean, I shaved the beard. I don't know if you noticed.
I did. I don't want to say. I don't like it shorter.
I feel like I had to go on this Geo single D, Jack Doyle. With him retiring, I thought it was only right to retire the beard for a bit.
Mate, that Max is going to be grabbing it and twisting it. It's not worth, like, literally just keep it short for a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a fun show. Been a fun returning show. Thanks everyone for joining. Mikey, Tom, the usuals, Lawrence and Colts Loyalist. Nice to see you all. And Gary. I've completely lost my train of thought. Forgot how to do outro.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.